I'ma catch a flight.
All right, hello. Welcome to another episode of A Cool Glass of Water. I'm your host, Chaz Gertz, and I have with me my first guest ever on the show, Micah Hillier. Micah, thank you for coming onto the show. Welcome.
No problem, Chaz.
Yeah.
I am so excited to be here. I am fully dilated. I'm ovulating. It's exciting. I'm happy to be here.
Right on. Good to know. Thanks. So, what you been up to lately? What shows you been doing?
Well, first of all, Chaz, I think they should understand that I'm a stand-up comedian.
That's
And I do.
It is a stand-up comedy podcast.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't just see him like walking down the road and was like, "Hey."
I'm not just a street corner walker that he picked up and was like, "Hey, do this podcast, please." No, I just did a show Thursday night. It's the Cruisin' Seventh show. They do almost like twice a month. They do twice a month on Thursdays. Amazing comedian Gene Moore. He's a local gay comic, and he just even if you're not gay, he'll take you in and try to like make you better, and he's just awesome.
Oh, cool.
But unfortunately, he shoved me to the very back of the lineup, and I did not do that well. It was like 8 people in the audience.
Yeah.
And my stuff does not go over that well with just 8 people, but it's a fun show when there's actually audience members.
Well, your stuff, it thrives on energy, right?
Yeah.
Like you were saying, yeah. So, well, the last show, like where we met at 10 p.m. Improv.
Which is a great show.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Sometimes.
Well, yeah, like last time we were there,
Yeah.
it was a pretty dull crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what it seemed like to me was the people that were there were only there to see the people they were there for.
Yeah.
And then they just didn't want
They had
anybody else
no
to
interest.
do well. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was still fun. You know, it was still fun to do it. So, how many people do you think are in there when?
At least...
It was a smaller show last time.
It was a smaller show, probably
Yeah.
around 80.
Yeah.
80,
What about
90.
the
First one that we met at?
Yeah.
It was probably like at least 150 because
Yeah.
it was full, and I think that theater holds 250
Yeah.
when it's max
It's
capacity.
nice. I do like going there. It's really nice. But yeah, that crowd, it was a little dull. I mean, it wasn't just you and I that were kind of like they were falling. It seemed like everybody that was there, and there was only 12 comics there that night.
No, it was a smaller show.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it was a lot. I don't mean to call anybody out specifically, but there were a lot of like douchey frat guys there to
Yeah.
see one of the comedians.
Yeah.
And the whole back of the audience were either his frat brothers or girls that he wanted to smash and crush puss. And I think, which is also funny because when we were in the green room, he had a lot to say to me about the fact that I was doing a set that I've been working on and doing for a while, which is completely a comedian's choice. If you want to build a single set and keep doing that and try to kill, or do you want to like just keep like off the cuffing it? So a cocky bastard for his second time doing comedy.
That was the first guy that went up that night, right?
No, he went up like two before me. I
I
remember I leaned over and told you like I fucking hate this douchebag.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're like, who do you mean? And I was like,
I do remember that guy. It was the guy that was sitting in there just talking shit about whatever. I don't know. I was trying to watch the other guys the shows.
Yeah.
Their shows, and he just kept like talking.
I'm also just uncomfortable with anybody that feels the need to fist bump me immediately within meeting me, and I'm like, this isn't gonna go well.
That's your starting point. Huh?
Yeah.
We're gonna go with the
Buy
fist
me
bump.
dinner first.
Right.
Lube up. What are you doing?
Definitely. So we did the 10 p.m. Improv, and then that's when I asked you to come on the podcast, and again I really appreciate you coming here.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to be a stand-up comedian?
Well, college wasn't working. I went for 2 years because that's all I got for free. Because I got the tuition waiver thing, and then after I got my associates, I was like, "So who wants to pay for the rest?" And they were like, "Nobody." And I was like, "All right, so we're done." And then I looked at my skills and realized all I have is a personality. So I could do sales, I could do service, or I could be a performer. And I tried all of it, and the only thing that didn't want to make me put a gun in my mouth was performing. So I went with that.
Cool, awesome. So is there any like comics that you like to watch or inspire you or anything like that? Or
yeah. Oh, I also should mention probably that I did perform like all through high school, like when I was growing up and stuff, but I tried to do like serious acting roles, and even when I was doing them on stage I was bored. Like I just hated it, and I realized the only thing I really liked doing was being like the comedic relief of a show. So I needed to be like the funny uncle that's drunk and like falling down, or I needed to be the one that was getting laughs, or else I wasn't having fun with the show. So then that kind of sparked stand-up, because all stand-up is the funny guy.
It's kind of an attention complex that you have then.
Yeah, completely. I did everything to make people look at me. I was a cheerleader, I was in plays, I was in dance, I was in choir. I was like, you will fucking look at me and you will love it.
All eyes on me.
Comedians that inspire me. I think if you listen to my set, it's really obvious that I have like an Amy Schumer style delivery, and my friends all point it out all the time. And that wasn't intentional. It's that I've realized, like hearing Amy Schumer's interviews, we have very similar influences. So like her delivery is very close to my delivery, because we both do this thing where it's like an ironic, like bastard character of yourself, where it's like, I'm not really me. I wish I was one of those comedians where I could just be me completely, but what I'm doing is like an asshole version of myself that people will hate, because that's the person I want people to see as an asshole. So I'm like louder, I'm gayer, like I'm just meaner, and full of myself. That's another thing that I try to pull off.
Well, you do that what was it? When people are clapping, you saying "I deserve it."
Yeah, right when I walk on stage and they're clapping for me, I deserve that. Thank you.
And even when
I'm gonna do great. Thanks. So my delivery style is very Amy Schumer, but if I were to say like my favorite comedians, like Maria Bamford, I don't know if you're familiar with her. She is insane. She used to tour with Pat Nas.
Clinically, like really insane?
Like clinically insane. In fact, she has a Netflix show out right now. Like if they have a whole season that they gave her, and the entire show is her going to a mental hospital because she thought she was going to kill herself. She's had a career for 20 years. She was did a Target ad campaign for Target, and the whole time she felt fake, like a sellout, like she wasn't really a comedian anymore, and then that led to her feeling suicidal. And so I don't know why, but I identify with her story a lot. And then her just her approach to comedy is so interesting, because she kind of, more than other people I see, realizes that you could literally just do whatever, and as long as it's working, it's working. You don't have to do like a structured, like you come in, you do your best joke first, or your second to best joke first. She doesn't follow a structure pattern, and I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And that's actually something that I definitely do, is there's a structure to my shows. One is grab their attention early with a joke, and then kind of feed them little bits until I hit my punchline at the end, of the set. So, which
is what you should do. I mean, I definitely have structure too. Like, I'm not saying I don't, but it's inspiring to see that once you know what you're doing, and once you've been in it for a while, you kind of can just drop all that and have fun. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. Is once I'm like, okay, and it's not a confidence issue. It's that I feel like I should maybe be better, and it's not cocky for me,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just absolutely. Like, I should be better, and then I can lose it all and kind of just flow and do whatever I want.
Definitely. How long have you been doing it?
2 years, almost 3 years, because the very first time I performed was the night I turned 21, because they wouldn't let me in the club before that.
Okay. Yeah.
So literally I was 20, turning 21 at midnight, and I talked the club owner into letting me do a show on my birthday.
Okay.
Like the night before my birthday, and I was turning 21. He was like, yeah, you can get in. It's whatever. Nobody's going to ID you.
So how did you feel like your first set?
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, it was completely awful. Everybody laughed, which is another thing that is terrible, is when you do awful your first time and people are still laughing, it gives you such like an arrogant confidence. Because it was the Comedy Spot in Scottsdale.
Oh, okay.
And Gene Moore, the guy I was talking about earlier, the local gay comic, he was the host that night. That's how we met.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, you have a great, his response was, you have a great personality, which is, your jokes are shit, but I can tell you have talent. Yeah. So I was like, thank you so much.
The
and I walked out
there. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm a fucking superstar. Are you kidding me? I just crushed this room my first time.
That was actually my first set, was at the comedy
spot. Their bringer show. You bring 10 people.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And I was in the same boat, because I did this set about, it was a really goofy set now that I look back at it.
Yeah.
About my mom.
Oh my god, I brought my mom up in my first set too. Yeah. I think that's just a thing. You're like, what's the funniest thing I could think of?
My mom's funny. Yeah, let's talk about mom. Yeah, but she couldn't spit out honey mustard at the drive-through. She kept saying money mustard, and then I just turned it into her like one being determined to say it, because she kept saying it over and over again, money mustard, money mustard, money mustard. But then she like turned into a demon, and it was all weird. But
it's a fucking weird set.
Yeah.
I remember it was a joke about gonorrhea, and it was
the same one with your mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's the same joke.
Right.
But it was so bad. It was so bad. I was like the first like joke that I wrote, and for those of you listening who can't see, I did air quotes. But it was my mom walked up to me because I was snoring really loud, and she got in my face, and basically all I did was just like a weird Jewy impression of my mom, and was like, basically suggested that she thought I had gonorrhea because I was snoring, and I thought that was fucking cool. I thought, oh my god, I'm so funny.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody laughed, and then I started the set with a bulimia joke. Now it's like a war flashback. It's all coming back to me.
Your PTSD is...
Yeah. I remember the very first joke I did, I walked on stage and I was like, oh my god, I just threw up, you guys. I'm so nervous. Or no, I said, it's not because I'm nervous, I just really want you guys to think that I'm thin. That was my very first joke on stage. So terrible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that kills me. I don't know.
But then it was all just the fact that like it was like a story. Like, and you think because you're funny and you're gonna tell a funny story, because that's what you see Louis C.K. doing. That's what you see like the bigger.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm just gonna get right into this. I'm fucking hilarious.
I'm gonna do what they do.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a joke. You don't realize there's cadence, there's rhythms to building to that, to where people are interested in going to be laughing.
Yep.
You just think, oh, I'm just gonna tell this funny story and I'm gonna be amazing. I'm gonna make a ton of money just right now. Like there's gonna be an agent in the room.
Oh,
I'm like, okay, well,
it's just gonna all
this
happen
is happening
once,
for me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, definitely. So like as far as like struggles or difficulties that you've had with being a comic, we could talk about some of that if you have any.
Oh no, because I'm flawless.
Right.
And everything I do is solid gold.
I'm sorry, we're gonna move on.
No, I think the only time I was really struggling was because right after I turned 21, I moved to Missouri, which I talk about in my current set.
Yeah. I'm glad you're talking about this.
I
love this
allude
part.
to it.
Please do it.
Yeah. Wait, do you want the joke?
I do.
Okay. Well, when I moved to Missouri, I started doing comedy in the Midwest, and they gave me like a cute stage name. It was "Get off the stage, faggot." Yeah.
I love that.
It was like my Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
But no, because I moved to Missouri right after I turned 21. I was having one of those weird, like, because it was right after I finished my associates, and I was like, I'm not doing anything with my life.
Right.
And I had a lot of family in Missouri, so I moved there, and they have a really cool club in St. Louis. It's an older club. It's called the Funny Bone, like the St. Louis Funny Bone.
I think I've seen.
It's a chain.
Yeah.
But the St. Louis Funny Bone is really, really old, and so they're like established. Once again, air quotes, people. I'm forgetting that I'm not being recorded visually.
I confirm that he's doing the air quotes. So,
but no, they're established. So they're kind of more old school. Like the owner did coke. I think every time I ever saw him, he was on cocaine. But they had like a really cool like weekly open mic. But the thing was, there was like 30 to 40 like amateur comedians in St. Louis all trying to work that club at that night all at the same time. So they only put 15 people on. So what you're doing is you're going 30 minutes before the show. You all sign up, and then they walk back into the room, and they're like with the list and like tell you if you're going up, and if you're not going up, you can still sit in the audience and watch everybody else. So that's basically what you did, and it was the closest thing to like a weird comedy boot camp that I could have done, because I was going every week, because when I moved to Missouri I didn't have a job, and my grandma was like, well, you have no excuse, you have to go do this thing or else you can't just live on my couch. And I was like, okay. So I kept going. And the comedy scene in the Midwest is very, like, 80s, and everything is men and women are different, and I'm married, and aren't women a bitch? And, like, I would come up and be like, what about fisting? And, like, and it was weird because I would kill, but I would get such resentment from the other comedians for killing. So it was like
and probably especially with that material.
Yeah. But it was just like, I was so alternative to what they were doing, and all of them wanted the laughs, but I was the one getting the laughs. And then there was maybe like 2 other female comics in St. Louis. So it was me and like the 2 chicks, if they showed up, and we would get most of the laughs because we were the only ones that were different, because we would see 10 straight white men that looked douchey with overgrown facial hair, not that I can comment, but like late 20s, early 30s, going on and be like, I smoke weed and masturbate, and aren't women cunts? Like, and then you would see us, and then it would be like a breath of fresh air. Everybody was laughing again. They would get really into it, and then the next comedian would go up and do his aren't women stupid jokes, and just would bomb because they were over it. So my biggest struggle was being in the Midwest, being alternative, and being funny. Once again, I sound so fucking cocky all the time, but actually like being funny, and then being resented by the other comedians, and then especially when like the owner would show me attention, and like the bookie, because there was the owner and the bookie would hang out in the very back of the club, like it was still the 80s, in their own like little private booth, and the waitress would just be bringing them cocktails all night. And if you were funny, they would wave you over after your set so you could come sit with them and talk.
It's like a cigarette room.
So I would go and hang out with them. Like, especially because I only got on the show like twice a month, so like half the time I was on the show, but when I did, I would get to go sit with them and hang out and talk, and they were like, you're really funny, but like we don't really have like anybody we think you could open for that come in, because the only time they want a gay comedian as an opener is if it's like a funny woman. So like, because that audience will appreciate a gay comic, but like they had a lot of like, I don't know, just like mainstream white male straight comedians. Not to diss you and everything you are.
That's just exactly what I am.
But what they want is,
at least you called me mainstream. I appreciate that.
but what they do is then they will hire like an ethnic minority to like throw in some spice, but they're not going to throw a faggot in. That's just not what's happening. So.
Well,
that was my biggest struggle, was just trying to be validated in a place that was not going to validate me.
Well, speaking of fags,
so
let's talk. You're gay, but your comedy, it doesn't rely on the fact that you're gay. Then that's something I really appreciate, because I've seen gay comics who would use it as a crutch, and I'm sure you have too. But one thing I appreciate, and I think I saw a black gay comic, and it was just both of those areas of oppression just working it. So but talk about that. Let's talk about like, you're a gay comic, but that's not something that you use as a crutch. As a crutch.
I mean, I'll mention it, and like I said, that's my opening joke. Is just because also I just want to break the ice of the subject, because I'm obviously gay when I get into a conversation, so I immediately just want to like call it out, and then right after that too, I make a weight joke because I'm overweight, so I'm like, all right, let's get all of this out on the table. But then after that, I want my comedy to be relatable, and if I'm only doing gay comedy, I only relate to 5% of the population, like gay male. So if I want to be relatable, I can't use that crutch. And we were talking about this before we were recording, that like it's definitely like a leg up in a way, because I am getting work. Like I had to do Gay Pride this year. Like I'm performing at Gay Pride Festival. Come check me out. It's gonna be awesome.
Definitely.
But I only got that gig because I'm gay. Whereas a regular comic who's starting and coming up isn't going to be doing a festival for 400 people in a tent. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to get that leg up. But the thing is, I can take that step up But if I only go in that direction, then I won't grow as a comedian because all I'll be doing is gay comedy. So I can appreciate the opportunities that it gives me, but I can't rely on that material. Otherwise, I won't be able to do anything mainstream.
Right.
And somebody, if you have the time, you should look him up. It's James Adomian. He does a really great Bernie Sanders impression that he was like doing all through the political campaign.
Okay.
But he's really awesome, and he is completely mainstream comedy, like doing comedy clubs, comedy festivals, just traveling, like the mainstream network, but was out the entire time. Whereas if you look at other like gay comedians that are successful, none of them were out when they were coming up through the clubs.
Right.
And that's something that was a little intimidating to me because, you know, I want to do more mainstream work. Like, not that I'm not going to do a gay cruise because I fucking will. Just like 2,000 dudes in thongs. I'm not going to say no. But I still want to be able to do like regular shit and do terrible casino gigs that everybody tells you not to do. I want to go do that. And he got to do that because also he acknowledged his gayness, did jokes, but then did not rely on that heavily in his material.
Right.
And that's exactly what I want to do.
Awesome. Cool. So you had talked about the last show that you had, you actually kind of bombed.
Oh, I completely bombed.
Yeah, well, I mean, I actually... Myself, I just recently had a show that I completely bombed. Yeah. And it was at a place called...
Really? You're so funny. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what I was saying. But it's
everybody.
I was like, you guys are wrong. Yeah. Not me.
That's the thing. You're on stage and you're almost just like, fuck you, actually. I'm amazing. Yeah. And it's just like, especially when you know... Because you can validate it when you fuck something up. Like if you drop the punchline, if you stuttered, especially when I stutter, I feel like I just ruined my whole set. But if you did everything right and they don't laugh, you're just like, no, actually, fuck you. This is great. You're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But it was at this place called Brigit's Last Laugh. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I haven't been, but I've heard of it.
Yeah. Well, it's when I first discovered this place, I went there. And
is it an open mic?
It's an open mic. Yeah, it's like every Tuesday night. It's an open mic.
Yeah, but it's a comedy club because it's named Last Laugh, right?
Well, let me get to that because I was looking online and I find this place. It's Brigit's Last Laugh. Just looking for places that I can go and practice and do something like on a weekly basis or something. So I find this place and I say, "Oh man, this is perfect. Let me go to this place. Let me check it out." Yeah. So I get there and it's out in Cave Creek, or it's on Cave Creek Road. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's right off the 101 on Cave Creek Road. And I walk in there and there's like 3 people sitting at a bar, and I'm like, "Okay, what's this about?" There's 2 people playing pool. There's a karaoke room with nobody in it, and I'm like. So it's Tuesday night. I know the thing said Tuesday. I go up to the bartender. I ask her. I'm like, "Is there comedy tonight or comedy night?" She's like, "Yeah, it's in the back." And I'm like, "It's in the back? Okay." Like it's like a legal poker game going on back there.
It's a speakeasy of jokes.
Yeah, exactly. So I go okay, and I walk back there, and there's this. It's just this like opening to another room, and there's this black curtain, and I go through the curtain, and I walk in, and there's like 12 people in the audience, and 2 of those 12 people are like 2 toddlers. Oh, like, and the parents are just eating dinner and like laughing at all these jokes. And what was so funny about this night was the comedians were relentless. Yeah. They were like, "You brought your fucking children. We don't care."
Oh, just tear. Oh, I love it.
Oh, yeah. And the kids are like, they don't know what's going on. They're just like walking up, looking at the comedians.
I mean, I fucking hate kids too. That's why I swallow. Sorry, keep going.
Sorry. But, no, it's okay. But, so, I'm like, at first I'm like, what the hell is this place? Yeah. And I find the coordinator, and I'm like, "Hey," and I was talking to him earlier. Well, at least I thought I was, because I was emailing somebody. And I'm like, "Hey, I'm Jazz." And he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, maybe I wasn't talking to you." But, so, the comics are going, and there's some pretty good talent there. And I said, "Hey, how do, I'm kind of actually hoping maybe I can get 5 minutes and go up there tonight." Yeah. I mean, there's 12 people. Like, it doesn't matter. And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay." So he's like, it's like a month in advance to get in there. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. But I'm like, okay, whatever. So I ask him, how do I get on? He says, "Yeah, just email me or Facebook me. So I Facebook him, and he gets me on last week. It was last week I had the show. And I went and did my Magnum condom bit, and then I finished.
Great bit.
Thank you. And I finished it with the what am I trying to say? I'm a great podcaster right now. I can't think of what I'm trying to say. The long distance sexting. Yeah, the long distance sexting little joke. And then this, and
which is also a solid bit. Yeah.
Appreciate it. And this is that was sympathy. That
no, guys, if you could see my face, it was so authentic.
No, that is I challenged that. That was not. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, thank you though. But so I go on stage, and I was fourth out of five comics, and
was everybody doing 5 minutes?
Actually, it's a 7-minute bit there. Yeah, and everyone did seven minutes, and I'm fourth, and I go up there, and I do the bit, and I hit him with the joke right away about I'm forgetting my own set right now, but I do my attention grabbing joke.
Aren't you glad we aren't on stage?
Yeah,
and
right.
There's not 20 people just staring at you fail.
Well, that's kind of what happened, but so I did my attention grabbing joke, and it missed.
Yeah,
and then I'm going through my where I'm supposed to. I'm feeling like I'm supposed to get hits right here. I'm supposed to get get laughs, God. And. Nothing
and is louder than the sound of people not laughing at your punchline.
I'm just like, and the light is just right in my face, and I kind of like look around a little bit. Everyone's on their phones. Everyone's like talking to each other and shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, fuck you people.
You know what's worse?
What's that?
When they're not on their phones and they're looking at you and they still don't laugh.
That's fair. But I did get one that like it was like a sympathy laugh.
Yeah.
And it was like he was like, huh, and I'm like, I'm like, I'm gonna see you after the show. That was bullshit. But then the next comic, the comic that came up last, apparently I can't remember her name, but she did some, she's done some work, and I could tell she was pretty good. But she took my jokes, especially the one about the Magnum condom, when I went in the bathroom and the condom wouldn't fit. And she's like, I would have stuffed that shit with like tampons and toilet paper. I'm like, that's pretty funny. But fuck you for using my jokes to propel your own set. But so I was pretty mad, and I left, but it was a bomb, and I thought that I could go there and practice, but I'm like you. I think. Oops, I hit the thing. I'm like you. With the set is more energy and kind of the crowd feeding off of each other as well, which might I think
is all comedy.
Yeah,
but the thing is, we as young comedians coming up in the game, we don't get to choose that we don't get to do those rooms,
right? Especially
because in my situation, so many of these other shows that I do are sort of a favor in response to giving me a bigger show,
right.
Like he's letting me do Gay Pride, and then I'm going to be doing the Thursday shows, and I show up, I bring like 5 or 6 people just so that there's audience, and so then I'm like, I can't get out of this because he's giving me this amazing opportunity. I have to do this shit room with 10 people because I owe him that.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's an unavoidable step of becoming a comedian, is that you're going to do rooms of 12 people that don't like you, and you just have to get through it, and don't admit defeat. You just smile and you do it.
Exactly. You're going to bomb. You're going to have sets that don't go as well as you might think they should, or as you'd like. But a big part of it is getting past that and learning from those experiences. Like, I learned that those people are fucking assholes. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
That's what I learned.
That's a lot of self-discovery.
Yeah, it was a big moment for me.
No, I learned that I'm amazing and flawless.
No,
I have an issue though when I bomb, and I did this the other night too. I get like verbally aggressive with the audience about it. Like, we joke that I say, I literally said "fuck you guys" because it was my grandpa joke, the Monopoly.
Yes,
and.
Yes.
At the punchline dropped, and I just took a moment and I just said, "Fuck you guys, that is an amazing joke." And then they all started clapping in acknowledgement that it was an amazing joke. They were just too like bitch pussy to laugh for some reason. Right. It's solid molestation.
I'm gonna
jokes.
write down bitch pussy.
Yeah, bitch pussy.
Can I use that?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's recorded.
It's not trademark.
It's not. Okay. All right. I have express verbal permission from the coiner.
Yeah, bitch pussy.
Bitch pussy.
But that's my issue, is that I will acknowledge it in my set, and then also, but I also think that's growth too, because I want to be able to call out when something bad's happening, because it's almost like my way of dealing with it in the moment and getting over it as I'm doing it.
See, I wish that well, that's one thing that I need to learn as well, because when I was up there and I could tell that it wasn't going as well. I'm not going to say I bombed, because I did the set.
Yeah.
And that set has done well, like at Tempe Improv when for that. So it was just figuring out how to go about when something's not going as well as you should. Yeah. Because what I was doing when I was up there was I was kind of pausing. It was flustering me, and then I just found myself trying to remember my joke instead of telling my joke and performing and delivering it.
Yeah.
So and I think, like, if I were to take a page out of your book with that, it would kind of keep me in my groove and then grab the attention of the audience again. Yeah. So
I mean, it worked.
Yeah. How did it go after that?
Well, okay, so when I acknowledged it, it got a little bit better for like 30 to 40 seconds after each time I acknowledged it. But the thing is, there's a point where it's just hopeless. Yeah. And you have to just admit that. And then you start performing for you, and you start performing for like the 3 people you brought. And at that point, when you can just pretty much say, fuck everybody else in this audience, I'm just going to have fun with this. I think it's still a fun set. I think you still get something out of it. Because I literally, the other thing I said during that set, I just paused and I was like, I don't fucking need you guys, okay? I laugh at my own jokes.
I'm not here for you.
So I don't need an audience. Like, I can do this by myself. And then I made a masturbation reference. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they laughed at that. And then I went back into my set, also just like, chuckles. And I was like, I love my jokes. They're my babies. They're doing great, actually.
Yeah, no, you're very funny. Every time I see your set, I laugh my ass off.
The same set,
yeah. Well, it's still funny. You still watch.
That's the other thing. In contradiction of what we were talking about earlier about not relying on gay comedy, because I am doing gay pride. I've been like making more gay jokes and I'm like trying them out and stuff. I didn't do them at Tempe, but I've been doing them at Cruise and 7th and like any time that I have an opportunity. Right. But I have to tell you, it's really bad.
Go ahead.
I did a joke, and I lifted my shirt up for the joke, and I said, "This is my body. I'm not even legally allowed to enter Los Angeles County. I can't get past gay border patrolling customs." And I think it's a solid fucking bit. And then I end it with, "That's Trump's America." Yep. And then I'm like, that's my only political joke. But the next comic after me, the host of the night, got on stage and had everybody applaud my bravery, which is an Amy Schumer joke and her brand new set that we just saw, that just came out on Wednesday.
Just released on Netflix, right?
Just released on Netflix.
Netflix is over there. We're pointing in a direction.
Yeah. Netflix, to the east.
To the east.
Anyway, but she has a joke in there about the only thing you don't want to hear when a nude picture of you goes viral is brave. And immediately when I got off stage, the host had everyone applaud my bravery for showing my stomach. And I was like, okay, so I bombed. This was the same set. I bombed. They laughed at that, though. They really loved that. And then laughed harder at him making fun of my body.
No. That's awesome. You know what? I did just think about something, though.
Yeah.
You talked about doing your sets in Mississippi.
Missouri.
I'm sorry, Missouri.
No, you're fine. It's all the same bumfuck nowhere. It's no big deal.
Exactly. But yeah, down there you said like the comic, all the comics were like white males, mainstream doing.
You had some really strong black comedians, like black male comedians, who definitely were inspired by like the Def Jam like style of comedy, and they did really well too. Yeah. So it was anytime there was like even a slight minority female. And then I did really well just being gay white male, but
so what I was going to bring up is the crowd is basically kind of the same as the comics up there. They're like, oh yeah, that's we know that.
It's the demographic.
Yeah, exactly. What I was going to ask you about, because you were the alternative, but when you do a gay crowd, and you being gay, and let's not just say you, but other gay comics as well, does it kind of fall into that same realm of, you know what I'm asking, like like where's the alternative for the gay crowd? Yeah, right. Does it kind of fall into that a little bit, like
well, it's a little bit different. Like we have Raymond, who is the black gay guy who does the black comedy and the gay comedy combined. I think that's probably who you were talking about. Yeah, and you have to.
Which, by the way, he was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, no, super good. Yeah, but the thing is, you have to like put placement, because you need. And this sounds so racist, but it's just like you have to put alternatives in between the regulars. Like, so like if you have me go up and I do like a more gay themed bit, and then you'll put Raymond up because he'll do a sort of alternative comedy because he does black comedy too, right? And then after him, then you can put somebody who's a little bit more like mainstream gay or like regular comedy, because the thing about Raymond is his energy is so high the entire time, whereas mine is like sarcastic, ironic. So a good host will spread everybody's energies out and realize, okay, after him, because he's ironic and sarcastic and sort of quiet, then you put in big energy, right? And then you do this. So with a gay show, you just have to play with delivery styles more than you do like who's like alternative, because we're all alternative. Right. All of us are doing like comedy that is not what they're going to hear when they watch Netflix specials or do something like that. You know what I mean? Right.
Absolutely. And gays just like to laugh.
They are definitely a gay audience is a lot more accepting of vulgarity and like anything that you want to talk about. Oh yeah. And then if you're cute, they all want to fuck you, and then they'll give you pity laughs anyway.
There you go. Yeah. That's a win for everyone then. Yeah. Great. Well, Micah, is there anything that you want to kind of plug while you're here?
I'm doing improv again, March 26th, Sunday, 7 p.m. And then for Gay Pride Festival, I will be there day 2 on Sunday, 3 p.m. in the 18 and up tent, so that we can make fisting jokes, drug references. There's strippers in there if you want to do cocaine. Everything you could possibly have. It's like Disneyland of cock.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
To A Cool Glass of Water. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you had a good time. I had a great time.
It was a great. This was my first podcast.
Yeah. So. And you're the first guest on the show.
My cherry is thoroughly broken.
Right. So. Awesome. I'm glad that I was able to break your cherry in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. I don't know if I was actually the one who did it or you did it to yourself.
A sexual one in 10 years. My podcast cherry is thoroughly popped.
So then you're pretty experienced, is what you're saying. Like there's been a lot done. No. Okay. So again, thank you so much for coming. I hope that you are interested in coming again and sharing this fun experience. I had a great time again. And everybody listen up to another Cool Glass of Water, because Micah, he's got his shows coming up. Go and check him out. I'm trying to get another show at Stand Up Live in Phoenix. There's another new Faces show. Yeah. But
my social media is just Micah Funny.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Micah Funny.
It's very branded. My YouTube, my Twitter, my Instagram, all just Micah Funny.
Micah Funny. Yeah, all right, to the point. Check him out, everybody. Micah Funny, right to the point, like he said. And hope you enjoyed another glass. I'm messing up. I hope you enjoyed another sip of A Cool Glass of Water.
There we go.
I'ma catch a flight.